All right, what's up? Welcome to the Aim Higher podcast, the official podcast of Aero Supplements. I'm your host, Carlos. Each week, we sit down with some entrepreneurs, athletes, healthcare providers, or performance-minded folks. We want to talk about leveling up physically, mentally, and in business. Now, if you want to find us online, we're on all the major social platforms at Aero Supplements. To check out our products or learn more about what we do, read our blog. It's got a lot of good information. Head over to www.aerosupplements.com. You can place an order there. Also, we're in retail stores, so just email us. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever platform you're on. Make sure you hit a follow or subscribe so you don't miss any updates. So let's get into it. We got a big crew today.
That was a prepared intro there, Carlos. I like that.
Was that scripted? No, I worked on that all day today with all my clients at work. I was reeling it out to them. I think one lady heard it like maybe 50 times. She was like, "Can you stop? I need to focus on what we're doing." That was great.
I think I still got to make our the Blue Sky platform? I still got to make our Blue Sky account, I think, don't I? Are we on Blue Sky?
Dude, we're on too many platforms already. Like, no Blue Sky.
Okay. No Blue Sky. Okay,
no
good.
Blue
so
Sky.
You can't find us on Blue Sky, but you can find us on Instagram and the Tweety.
TikTok.
Twitch.
The TikTok.
Yeah.
But let's do an intro for you guys, because we pretty much have the whole founding team all together, except for our one lovely lady, Lassie. She is setting off the fire alarm in the back. But
product in Japan.
Well, I guess we also, oh my God, I totally forgot about Ari. That's bad. But we have another great friend who is on a trip. But let's go youngest to oldest. Give a little intro on what you do at Aero.
That'd put me.
That's definitely you.
Right. That's me.
Good thing you're our data
sounds good. Yeah. Well, I was about to get into that. I'm the nerdy guy that enjoys the data. I love, that's me. I run operations for Aero, helping out a lot with like the logistics and the things. And so, yeah, that's who I am.
And what people can call you, like Hamsam Hamza? Like what's your name?
Yeah, I've heard that one before. Some people, this one I'm gonna throw it out there. I've heard hamster before. That's one that is like, you got to be really close to me. We have to talk that one out a little bit.
Okay, interesting. So, Jake, I think you're next, or is it me?
That puts, what month were you born?
November.
Well, that would be me next.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm Jake, also co-founder, and just, doing some digital things, doing some product brand things. And why are you looking like that, Jason?
Well, when are you going to tell us you're a storyteller? I'm a storyteller.
I'm a storyteller at heart, and I'm just excited to be here. They say I'm the personality hire, so
yeah, that's for sure. All right. Well, I'm Carlos. I'm the head of HR.
If you ever tap the top of our supplement bottle, that was me. That was
okay. Well, we'll get there, Jake. Your moment to shine will come soon. I'll get back to my introduction. Carlos, the head of HR, and also your content guru, and that's really all you need to know about me.
Well, also your background in healthcare.
Yeah, we can mention that, but we'll leave it at I have a healthcare clinic, and I'm a registered massage therapist. So I've been in the health and wellness space for quite a while now. Who's next?
I think it might be Jason. Am I older?
No, you're younger.
David, expert in retail and sales, many years in both. And you want to purchase a bottle, I'm the guy to come to.
How can they reach you? What's your email?
David@aerosupplements.com.
David@aerosupplements.com. Retail stores fire some orders to that.
I think probably like David, like you touch on like you've run like a pretty substantial retail store.
Yeah, sure. So I can go a little bit deeper on it. I had about 5 to 10 years of sales experience back in Ireland, but before being in my current position, I spent about 5 years running a major retail store here in Canada, managing a store, its inventory, ins and outs, scheduling, and ordering of supplements. Big part of the role that I played there.
He's there.
Important
a
role.
Sleeper agent, a sleeper cell, some would say.
100%.
Okay, Grandpa, you're next.
All right. Well, I am Jason, and my main role is I'm trying my best not to get caught in the operations and details of this business. Hopefully I can just stay big picture. So I'm working on that. sharing the vision, coming up with the products and the strategy around that, and just doing fun things. We have a lot of fun.
Well, that was a long intro for all of us. So we're gonna do a little rapid fire. It means like 1 sentence answer. We'll go in the order from, again, youngest to oldest. So what did you do today for some physical activity?
I practice soccer.
Okay, we got a soccer.
Danced because I've got a wedding coming up, so practice
Nice.
dancing.
Nice.
You're actually practicing how to dance, Hamza. That's like something you're working on.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. I'm good at a lot of things. Dancing is not one of them.
Just feel the beat, man. That's it. Just
Just
feel the beat.
it.
And
Just
what
feel
kind of music are you dancing to?
We're looking at something that is straight up my alleyway, something that I've practiced a ton. I've got Congolese music that I'm doing, so we'll see how this goes. But that's what I've got practicing.
All right, you're cooked. Jake, what did you?
I'm trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon. Have I mentioned that yet?
Yeah, I think like the other 6 times you also told me you're vegan, and I know that. I've known that for a
Well, that's not true, but I am trying to qualify for the Boston Marathon.
Okay.
So today, because I joined that app Runna, it was acquired by Strava a little while ago.
Yep.
So Runna has set out a plan for me. So today I had a tempo run. I had to do like different intervals of my target pace time.
Nice.
So that's what I did today.
Okay, David.
Swim, sauna, walk the dog is the usual morning routine. And then this evening is hit the weights.
Let's go. That's a routine.
You forgot yourself, Carlos.
Yeah, okay. I went mountain biking. I went on a little adventure. I went to find a new trail, kind of got lost in the middle of the woods, and yeah, that was my activity today. Long mountain bike ride.
So I did about a 4 and a bit K run, and I'm not trying to qualify for Boston. And I did my famous 2x2 or 3x3 weightlifting regime, which was 2 sets of 2 or 2 sets of 3 bench press at about 90 to 95%, 1 rep max, and then RDLs, same thing.
But you also recently just finished a half marathon.
Yes. On
So
Sundays.
Tell us, how is the body recovering? What's the plan going forward with running?
The body is recovering well. It did take longer than I expected. I thought that I was going to be good to go. I ran it on a Sunday. I thought I was going to be good to go on a Tuesday, but I've never run at that pace for that amount of time before. And it really wasn't until Thursday afternoon, Friday, that I was back to full tilt. And I'm like a recreational runner now. Like, I'm a recreational runner. That's one of my new things. So I'm going to do the Victoria half marathon, but I don't believe I have the time to do I'm choosing not to spend the time on doing a full marathon. It's a lot of focus.
Okay, interesting. And then what about one thing that you guys never skip? Maybe that's like breakfast, or that's like a workout. Like, what's one thing that's a daily habit or ritual that, let's say 90% of the time, each day, you will do?
Go ahead, Hamza.
Okay, so I find like mornings, sit down, plan out my calendar, what I'm doing for the day, what I've got in front of me. It's usually a big part of my morning routine.
Okay. So not health and wellness related at all.
All right. Oh, I plan out when I'm going to get my workouts in.
Okay.
I got to make sure. Yeah.
Jake?
Well, it's like true that I never skip sleep, and most people don't skip sleep. But when I say that, I mean like no. But like,
oh my god, one of those things again.
What?
Just take it so literally.
Well, no, I've been placing increasing value on good quality sleep and long sleep. So that's something that I've been focusing on. We'll cut this bit out as well. Fucking.
What's that word we said we were going to say?
Keep this one in.
All right. Well, Jason, what's new? What's new with you?
Yeah, I mean, that's too easy. Magnesium. I take my
Magnesium.
Too easy. I take my magnesium every night. I sleep so much better. I do notice when I don't take it and I am like laying there, I'm like, I can still fall asleep, but like I noticed like definitely my sleep is not as deep, or like I'm just kind of like, I don't wind down or fall asleep quite as quick if I don't have my magnesium. And I don't like I kind of like it's to the point where I'll forget about the magnesium. Like I forgot to take it for whatever reason, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I don't think it's fully in my head. Like, I actually do feel it's something that does calm me down and have me sleep deeper. So that's one thing I do not skip. But if you want something more like that's less of a softball, I don't know. I have to think about something.
I gotta say steps. I think a beautiful thing about having a dog is you're forced to have them daily. So I think it usually gets my body moving in the morning, the afternoon. Once the body's moving, I feel
Nice.
like we can get more. So I would say steps and protein intake, whether it's bars or shakes or just watching what type of food I'm eating to get enough protein in.
Nice. The steps are so underrated. That's like so good, actually. And then same with you for me, David. I've been really trying to hit my my protein per a gram per body weight. So that's been a fun little challenge. Let's start talking about the day today, because today was a pretty exciting day for Aero in general. We finally, after what, maybe a year? How long has it been? How long has it been since we got our first order?
I think we truly our first order arrived to us in August or July, right? And then we sort of learned that we pulled it from the shelves in, I believe it was around December, like November, December.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're like 3-4 months from pulling it.
Yeah. I know we're like over 5.
So who went and picked up the most precious products to ever been made?
That would be me. Yeah, I went and grabbed it. And what I love about it is I live in Delta, Tsawwassen, and our manufacturer just so happened to move to Tsawwassen, or not to Tsawwassen, to Delta. It's about 16 minutes away with no traffic. So it's same side of the tunnel, same side of the bridge. So that was really exciting.
Nice. And who did the QA?
I did as well.
So David or Hamza, do you guys know what happened like the first time when we got the first order bottles?
Mm-hmm.
With not just the F up in product, we'll say, but the bottle label stuff?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Jake,
they were.
You gotta tell them, Jake.
Well, yeah, that's why I didn't go today. I was worried. A little bit of concern there, but our new co-manufacturers pulled through. We had an issue last run with the labels being misaligned. We like to run things. We run a pretty tight ship around here, and so when the labels were not aligned, probably last time, we were pretty upset about that. But yeah, Jason, how are the labels this time around?
Straight as an arrow. They actually look.
Oh.
Do you want to like anything else you want to do while we're recording that? No. Okay. Sorry, what was the question?
Your labels. You said you had a magnifying glass and you're really looking in at them.
They're pretty straight. We learned from the first batch, and we learned that it was never even something we even thought of, that they wouldn't be straight, but they were like off by quite a bit.
And they had bubbles too, which was just kooked.
That wasn't too bad. There was only a few bubbles, but it was definitely off by, like, you'd look at it and you'd be like, that is very clearly off. Granted, they're like pretty big bottles, and then there's quite a high contrast, so you really notice it. And but this is much better. Like this was done very well.
So we're good to go. Stuff's good to be put on shelves. We're not doing any more recalls. Fingers crossed, kind of thing.
Hopefully. And I mean, of course, these things might happen in the future, but I think, what we learned from the first one should hopefully prevent anything from happening in the future.
Yeah. So what about the latest blog post you wrote, Jason? Like, I think we've all read it, but I feel like that'd be something great to maybe we could all talk through as a group. I think it'd be super awesome for the listeners as well to hear that in an audio form and not just have to go to the blog to read it.
Yeah, what do you want to talk through with that?
Well, I think maybe let's just like start through the a couple of the sort of talking points. So what it was is the honest results for our magnesium testing is the name of the blog post. And let's maybe talk about, the first like intro was like why this post exists and sort of explaining what a COA is, because I think a lot of people don't actually know what a COA is, what it really means and what it doesn't mean, because I think that's what we all learned, which was a very important lesson, like what a COA doesn't actually mean.
Yeah, well, a certificate of analysis, and starting with the title, honest testing results for magnesium bisglycinate. We're not trying to hide the testing results behind a veneer and make ourselves look good. we're aiming to just be honest and then actually have healthcare practitioners, scientists, health nerds actually like dissect the work.
Yeah.
For the purpose of making it better. So we're not trying to hide and say, oh yeah, everything's perfect here. It's not. And we're just going to be honest about what that is, right? So that's the first thing. But a COA is a certificate of analysis. Now, what is a certificate of analysis? I don't know fully why. Like, it's kind of a loose definition.
Yeah.
Because it can mean someone, like a manufacturer or a supplier, certifying that what is in a raw material or a supplement is true. But as we know that why I say like I don't know fully what it means is because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of like consequence to that COA not actually being accurate.
I think that's what we all in the beginning took it as. A COA is like 100% true, tested results, and no one would need to dig any deeper than that, which we ended up doing. And I think later in this blog post, we'll get to the part about testing 3 different products, which I think was very revealing.
Yeah, and so we don't have an issue with COAs in general, but just like unverified COAs. So some raw material suppliers, and we'll get to it in a second, they can. It's not like there's no basis in reality, but they can very easily just say, here's a certificate of analysis of what's in here. And because there's no other verification of it, they can just pass it off as real, when in fact it's not really real. So I guess going into the next part of it, I want to just give like the high level of the 3 tests that we did run and the actual cost per batch, because we wanted to make sure that you saw actually how much additional cost there is to the test, because when you see here that this is even this first test, this ICP-MS to determine the elemental magnesium, that is something that's on the certificate of analysis from the raw material supplier. So a brand doesn't actually have to test it. They could just take that and then plug that into their bottle, and they could just say, yeah, here we go. But because we wanted to show our work, we said, okay, let's test this ourselves. Let's make sure to actually test the raw material ourselves, and let's do that on every batch. So that's the first kind of additional cost that brands don't need, but that we chose to do for the purpose of this.
And to be certain, like this is uncommon, right? That a brand will be testing, third-party suppliers' raw materials, right?
Yeah, that is uncommon. What they will do, even the transparent ones, they'll show the COA, they'll show their certificate of analysis, but it just comes from the manufacturer. It's not actually from a lab that like tested against that.
It's not verified by a third party.
Not verified by anyone. So that is that. Then the next one is the identity, which is one that no one does, and this is what really held us up a long time. This was like several months of digging into this, talking to scientists, talking to labs, talking to other raw material suppliers. And at first we were shocked because there was no test for identity. And this is, as you can see, quite a big cost. And we actually ran this on 3 sets of raw material. So it was a big cost for us to find that. And then the last one, this is what we're waiting on right now, because we picked up our batch 2 today, but this is the heavy metal microbial test, and this just needs to be completed. So our bottles are currently in quote unquote quarantine for 5 to 6 days. While it settles, then they test, and then they pass it through. So that's what the testing looks like.
So out of curiosity, like question for you, David, being a buyer and running a retail store, like did you ever have supplement brands come in and pitch you in any way regarding their like purity, testing efficacy? Like did you see any of that at all?
No, what's very interesting about it is, and I think it comes further in the blog here, this was solely based on trust. So when they came in and said, this is what the bottle represents and this is what's in the bottle, it was solely based on trust without verification.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's separating the concept of just removing trust right now and you having to verify. So it was always based on just a sheer trust that what was on the bottle is what's represented in the bottle.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So Hamza, like, I don't know if we've chatted, you and I, about this. Like, what supplements do you take?
Well, it's funny, we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast, because I was my kind of journey into supplements started with Arrow, because I wasn't really big on taking supplements.
Guy's big on data. Guy
Yeah.
loves data. Let me tell you, that guy bangs with data all day, every day. Supplements, he's new to that.
Supplements is new. I've always been big on, just having like a healthy lifestyle and everything in general, but never really got into supplements. So I think magnesium was one of the first big ones that I started.
Was there like a hesitancy to taking them for some reason, or no?
Well, I had this conversation a little bit, but I think it wasn't a hesitancy with taking them. It was more so like I started taking omega-3s and a couple like vitamins, probably, I don't know, I would say around like 2 years ago. Never really felt that much like different. Never really clicked for me. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's like, I don't know if I'm taking the right supplements, or am I actually taking like a good brand? And it was just like so many.
Like, how do you verify that?
Yeah,
well, we got a solution for you, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what got me so excited about the idea of Arrow, is I had all these questions, and I'm like,
nice.
I don't want to do the research. Like, it's not adding so much to my life that I'm like, okay, I'm willing to spend the time to learn this stuff.
Yeah.
And circle back like 2 years later, and all of a sudden you have all this data available, talking to the data guy, and you've got you have all this like knowledge that Arrow is putting out, and that just instantly sparked it for me, where I was like, okay, got it, now I'm understanding this, now I'm seeing the value of supplements. And so magnesium is where it started, and then kind of building from there.
Nice. So where are we at in this blog now? We're going through,
I kind of covered this touches on the total elemental magnesium, and this is an important piece because magnesium bisglycinate is really 3 molecules bonded together. You have your magnesium, and then you have 2, and it's bonded to 2 glycine molecules, which is why it's called bisglycinate.
Fun fact, you can also take just glycine as a sleep aid. Like, it's another sort of supplement that helps people sleep. So you're kind of getting a 2 for 1. You might as well just go to www.aerosupplements.com and place an order.
That was good.
I don't know if is that demonstrated.
That's true. 100% true. 100%, man. Fact check me.
All right, that's good.
We will verify.
Verify. Yeah, we're gonna trust you. We're gonna verify it.
It'll be verified at a later date and time.
Yeah. And so, interesting thing that magnesium bisglycinate. It was. I've been taste testing it, and it's because like total sidebar, but I was talking to a naturopath, and we're talking about electrolytes, and I was like, yeah, Element is good, but what if I could put bisglycinate in it? And she was like, oh, that would be the best. Like, I always recommend bisglycinate. But when I was mixing it myself, I was like, this has this really kind of fishy taste to it, and I thought, there's like something wrong here. But then when we were at the health show the other week, CHFA, I got a bunch of bisglycinate packs, like sample packs, and it was the same thing. So, side note, bisglycinate, no good in a drink, whereas malate is pretty good. Like, it tastes proper salty versus kind of fishy and strange tasting. So don't drink or don't taste your magnesium bisglycinate. But the bisglycinate, what's that?
Sidebar, which I think is totally applicable for kind of what we're going through right now in terms of people knowing what's in their products. But the CHFA, Jason, you and I were at a booth. We were at the, I don't know, should we name names?
What's that? Well, let's say no.
The lady was telling us about their electrolyte mix.
Oh, God, yes.
And this was, so she was, I think, like the VP of North American sales or something. Yeah. She was pretty high up in terms of their sales department. And she's selling us on their electrolytes and is actually just spewing total bullshit. Like, total bullshit. She had no idea. Other products, she had no idea, like, what was in theirs and what it would do. I don't know, Jace, do you remember more correctly?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I remember now.
Okay.
So yeah, not only was she like, it wasn't like she was like slightly wrong, like she said malate instead of bisglycinate. It was like she was just saying straight up untruths and
Yeah.
being very confident about it. She's like, element, it just has salt in it. I
Yeah.
was like, nope, not true, but you tell me that. And then so there's just a bunch of other things that were. But yes, where were you going with that?
Well, it's just such a good example, but unfortunate example of like how even people within a brand, high up within a brand, who should be conveying the utmost information with utmost accuracy about their product and what's in their product to a potential buyer or consumer, and just spewing shit, like absolutely spewing shit, which I don't know. I think that's a horrible look.
I agree. And I think that's why for us, I've said it before with other companies that are in the supplement game, so to speak, like they literally see it as a game. So they like might go on like some sort of keyword trending thing and be like, oh, this Garcinia Cambogia is on the rise or electrolytes on the rise. We can make electrolytes, and then they like whip up some electrolytes. Some person from the marketing team markets it, they make a label, and then like they put it to their distributor, and now it's in stores.
Yeah.
And that's like the process. And there's not like a ton of, and I'm not saying that somewhere along the way someone's not trying to help, or like they probably in their mind think that they're building something good or useful. But if you like actually start from like a craftsperson's perspective and you're like, what is the actual thing that people need that's not just baloney, then you're going to have very different products. And so I think you just have people that are in the industry, they maybe don't have a science background or anything like that, and they're just there to make their company successful. And their definition of that is maybe not what ours would be. That's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Jake, say something weird.
I got nothing.
Okay. So I guess going back to the elemental magnesium part, we have the assay here. And so, so this tells us how
what
much
was that called?
It determines the amount of elemental magnesium. Because one trick that people play is they'll take 800 milligrams of powder and they'll make it seem like there's 800 milligrams of magnesium. There isn't. There's only a percentage of that magnesium powder that is actually magnesium. So that's the first part. And then the next part is the super high tech stuff that we did. So we did the NMR test through Purity, which is a lab out of Guelph, and they did the test, and they said that the sample that we have, we compared against 3, you can see that here, is 85%, 0.27, magnesium bisglycinate, plus or minus 6.93. So that's their like level of certainty on that. Which was the highest by far of all of the raw material samples that we tested. So
now don't confuse the NMR test with the supplement NMR. Different.
Isn't that NMN?
Do I have dyslexia?
Maybe.
Probably.
Can you spell it?
Confirmed, actually. So moving on.
So I think the last part of this is there's a lot of like half steps that customers, or not customers, supplement companies will make to make themselves seem transparent that really aren't. And so one is the certificate of composition, which is literally made by the manufacturer, and there's no lab data to back up their certificate. And as I said here, it could be Harry Potter fan fiction. It's made up. Then what we talked about at the top, which is supplier only certificate of analysis, where the raw material vendors, the people that are selling it, are the ones running the tests. So because there's no third-party referee, the fox is guarding the henhouse. We talked about the magnesium percentage equals purity, sleight of hand. So there's another brand out there that says and just swears by, when there's a lot of brands out there actually that swear by being absolutely pure bisglycinate. David came across them. Unless they show lab results, I would not believe it. And I really doubt it's the case, because even when we talked to the gold standard raw material supplier, they themselves said they didn't know if their stuff was pure or not, and they admitted that they didn't test it. So for us, and then I guess the last part is the bumper sticker certification. So NSF is a big one, and NSF certified for sport or CGMP or any of these other things. Like, they're a good baseline. They're helpful. They cost a lot, so it's costly signaling. Like, it shows that someone cares about that sort of certification. But the documents you can't find, like, there's nothing to say, oh, this batch from this supplement that is NSF certified for sport supposedly goes through purity testing. It supposedly goes through all this stuff, but where are the tests? And today there's the technology to enable that being on every bottle. And so that's what we're doing. And that's what we mentioned here.
So should we talk about that? The cool little idea Jake chefed up in his little underground kitchen in the basement?
The Cole's notes is that it became important to us that we were as transparent as possible. And for me, that meant removing as much friction as possible for the consumer to be able to access these third-party independent tests. And so if you look at how we can do that, like one constraint is the label itself, and that, like, there's only so much surface area on the bottle that we can communicate these things. And so that was a constraint. We wanted to keep the label nice. And so I thought that NFC is a fairly widely available technology, and the cost to implement is decreasing rapidly. It has decreased rapidly. And so it was a low-cost way for us to deliver this to the consumer. People have asked me, like, oh, why not just a QR code, or why can't people just go to your website? And we can do that, and they can go to our website to search the lot number. But, if you ask yourself, when was the last time you used the QR code at checkout of a grocery store when you're sitting there self-scanning? The answer is probably never, because there's just so much friction there, right? And so the tap is kind of a marked reduction in friction. And in part, the medium is the message, which is you care about transparency so much that we're willing to go out of our way to make accessing those test results as frictionless as possible. And that's what we have with Tap the Cap.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to start wrapping up, but before we wrap, I have one little question segment. I'm going to ask one of you. I think we'll go with Jason. We'll go with Gramps today. Now, if you're watching this podcast, wait for the expressions people are about to make, because the head of HR is about to say something. Look, you can see the anxiety building in Jason's face right now. Look at him. So this comes from a classic game. 3 words. Mary was one of them. But we'll go a little more of a PGA version, so you probably will make the association, but it was you got a PG version, but you got to lock one in. The other ones you got to have a little fling, and the other ones ghost. So Mary, Barry, that was the game. But supplements, right over Grandpa's head. So forever, for a time, and fuck no. 3 supplements.
Okay.
So
I get to choose a supplement.
You get to choose this time.
Normally
you get to
in
choose.
This game that I don't know about, you give me the 3 supplements.
Usually I do, but we're gonna say you have creative artistic freedom.
Okay, sorry. It is do forever.
Forever, and you can either say for yourself, or you can make this as a recommendation for the general public. But forever,
I'd say magnesium for forever.
Okay.
And then the next one is
for a time.
For a time, I'd say creatine.
Okay. And then fuck no.
I'm trying to think. There was one I took that was like, there's a whole bunch. Mostly just ones that I took and they just didn't do anything.
Do you have any ones that make you sick?
Yes. Well, I know zinc on an empty stomach, but that wouldn't. I would still recommend zinc. Maybe I'll just go with whatever the hell the brand I got of Fedosia agrestis, which I'm pretty sure there's absolutely not the supplement itself, but I'm pretty sure there's no Fedosia agrestis in this supplement.
All right. Well, that's the segment. That's the pod. So that's a wrap on the episode of the Aim Higher podcast with Arrow. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And of course, if you like the episode, follow us. Follow the Aim Higher podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, wherever you're tuning in. Find us on the socials at Arrow Supplements. Ask us questions in the Instagram DMs, and visit our website, arrowsupplements.com. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.